Good morning, friends and traders. Welcome to the market forecast. I am Dan Hodgman. It is Wednesday, May 12th, and boy, oh boy, did CPI send us into a little bit of a tizzy here. Stocks down, gold way down to way up, bonds are down, and you've got the euro way down to working its way higher. CPI is a number we really haven't paid a lot of attention to over the years. It's kind of really not been a huge factor, but we're seeing the economy open up. Consumer Price Index. For those that don't really understand what it is, it's basically they have a figurative basket of goods and they're comparing price over time. How much did it cost, last year versus this year? It's more expensive by 4.2% right now. So shows us the costs of goods have gone up 4.2% over the last year. That's a big number. Are we surprised? I don't think there's any reason to be surprised. We've shut down. We shut down our economy. We've given out stimulus. We put checks in people's hands. Unemployment has increased. And they have gotten paid a lot more on unemployment than they historically have. You've got businesses shutting down that are trying to stay afloat right now. The ones that didn't, the ones that stayed open, are trying to just stay afloat. You've got shipping costs have increased. You've got gasoline prices now up drastically since in the last 4 or 5 months. So we're seeing some big changes out there. The cost of good and inflation is expected. Is it going to be as wild as we think it might be? I think there's some things that they can do at the federal level to start to tame this, and imagine they will. But for now, inflation talks have started to hit the market, and we saw it here this morning. Volatile action off the CPI number. So again, CPI was 4.2, was expected, I think it was 3.6 was the consensus on it. So they expected up. We all kind of expected a big increase, but we got a lot more. 4.2% on the CPI. Other things going on in the world. Because of China or Tesla not building their manufacturing plant over in China, those sales have tumbled in China 27%. So pretty solid explanation of what is going on with the Tesla stock. Gasoline shortages still kind of up and down that East Coast, down to Florida. I did talk to my sister. She lives in Virginia. Her and her husband and their kids are loading up the car and driving out my way tomorrow. And they rushed and they had to go find some gas yesterday to fill their car up so that they could get out this way. They said the lines have been pretty long. People are just panicking, kind of like the toilet paper panic of 2020. Everyone take what you need, but save some for everyone else. And stocks, they continue to stumble. We got a little light yesterday, so that helped us out. Yields, no surprise, yields are up pretty big right now. 10 years up 28 basis points. 30-year, not much change on the 30. Only up 6 basis points there. And man, would this be a fun time to be trading the yield spreads? I've always enjoyed trading that. It's one of my favorite products to be trading, and a day like today is going to lead to possibly some fun opportunities there. So that's the major stuff we got going on in the news. As a reminder, this afternoon at noon, at 12 p.m. Central Time, those of you trading the 10-year, there will be a 10-year auction at noon. And at 9:30 a.m. Central Time, EIA Petroleum Status Report could really, who knows what this thing could do to this crude oil market. It's kind of been all over the place. We've got a lot of questions going on. It could send this thing into a tizzy to the upside or the downside. So we'll have to hang on and see how everything's going there. All right. I want to say good morning, everyone. Richie, Bill, Theodora, good morning. Level 2. Level 2, go to bed. If you were up all night, get some sleep. Don't trade today. PD, good morning. Caesar, good morning. Jim, and Andres, Ed, Troy, Trading Research, good morning. I am Hodgman, not Hoagland. Lucas, good morning from Poland. Nice. Would have expected CL to be up there more on the hot inflation numbers. I think, Greg, it's a great point. I would, part of me is wondering, is this inflation already kind of factored into the crude oil number? We've been talking it for a while, and there's so much else factoring in, or maybe we're just waiting for the number this afternoon. Who knows? Mr. Shine's Mystery Channel, good morning to you. Ednelson, good morning. JD, the Dancing Bear, level 2 CPI has become relevant. Yes, it has. Will the price of COM impact the price of bourbon? We need government intervention. I don't know. I got a nice stack of it sitting out in the kitchen, so I think I'm well prepared if bourbon prices go up. Felix, good morning. Better pay for their gas. It may cost as much as a plane ticket. Yes, level 2. It's gas prices are going up. My truck has almost doubled in price, it feels like, to fill up a tank. Yes, Ed, I got the Friday shirt on. It is my Friday. Thank you for mentioning that, Ed. I am out starting about 12 o'clock today, and I won't be back until next Thursday. Looking forward to a nice week off. Therefore, there will be no market recap today or tomorrow, and there will be no market forecast Thursday or Friday. All right, guys. All right, let's go ahead, take a look at our charts here, see what we got going on in the markets here today. Oh, good deal, Trading Research. And Toan, good morning to you as well. All right, as always, we're starting with the daily and crude, right? First thing we're taking a look at. You guys know us here at Top Step. We love our weekly kickoff levels. They present opportunity. Maybe they're not perfect. We're not coming to the tick, but they present opportunity. You saw the break yesterday, and the crude oil broke down just shy of weekly kickoff low. We have bounced kind of in the center of the range, and right now, depending on what the crude number is here today, there's very big potential. We can come and check the swing high from back in March, early March. So I'm watching that weekly kickoff high up above at 67.30, and obviously could go the opposite direction. Remember, fundamentally, there are things that can have an effect on these markets, but we're being patient. We're waiting for those technicals to kind of start to play out in conjunction with the fundamentals. That's what we want to keep in mind as we're trading this number. So let's look a little bit closer. We got settlement price down here at 65.28. We are opening up away from settles. Guys, it's been a great trade for us here as of late. If we're open up away, we close the gap to settlement price. Today's going to be a little bit different. Market's opening up here right now. We are making a slight attempt. Now, if you look all the way back, last week, I was talking about this 6607, 6608, 6610, we'll just call it, as a point of rejection. We found a lot of opportunity at this price last week. So that level still comes into play as the markets come right back up to it. So that's something we can watch right now. We're right there at that price. We have opportunity here. Whether we're looking to the long or we're looking to the short, you have an asymmetric opportunity. Maybe we're waiting for a little bit more strength in this to short down to the settlement price, or maybe we're looking for just a little bit more weakness, a little bit more of a pullback to get in and go with trend. Excuse me. Got quite the tickle in my throat today. So we've got a couple options. If this market opens up and continues to the upside, and this is just a simple pullback and a directional move, I really am looking up to that weekly kickoff high of 67.30. Like we looked over here on the daily, we fell just shy of it back on March 8th. And that's where I'm looking here again today. We're going to have one stop on our way up there at 66.80, last week's swing high. So once again, settlement price down here, which is yesterday's point of control. So we do have some points that are going to bring us down there. But again, number coming out today. Keep an eye, thoughts on supply and demand. fundamentally. If they add more supply, price should go down. If they pull supply away, price should go up fundamentally. But does that mean that's going to be the case here today? So again, settlement price down here, 65.28. We're yesterday's point of control, not too far off of yesterday's value area high. If we start to rotate inside here, I can't really foresee this right now. I would be surprised to see this market accept into yesterday's value and rotate to the low side of yesterday's value. But I'd be remiss if I didn't point things out, because markets have a way of shocking us. So I just want everyone to see yesterday's value area low is down here at 64.51. So value area yesterday, 64.51 up to 65.35. If this market comes down towards settlement price, we start to see some acceptance inside here. Hey, it's always possible. Nothing's impossible in these markets. Next, let's look at the S&P 500, which we're seeing the break right now. We're sitting right now just up above weekly kickoff low, which is 41.10. And we have, just so you guys can see, the 50 EMA. Remember, I love my EMAs, the exponential moving average, and the SMA, the simple moving average. I adjust times on them. I adjust my durations that I'm looking at. This is currently the 50-day exponential moving average down here at 40.63. If we show acceptance below this 41.10, I don't see that being a difficult target to get to with these numbers coming out today. So far, relatively quiet. We didn't get a ton of volume on the number at 7:30, and maybe people are waiting. We're sitting a little patient right now, waiting to see what's going to happen. But now, putting that aside, putting the news aside, we're right at our levels that we've talked about yesterday. Remember, 41.20 down to 41.10. That's what we liked yesterday. It gave us opportunity. We got the opportunity last night in the overnight session. We rallied that market right up to settles. Closes the gap to settle. Beautiful opportunity there. Now we're opening up away. We are opening up away from settlement price. We know our first instinct is always to look at the close to gap to settles. We're in a decent spot. Settlement price is up here at 41.46 quarter. So we're in a relatively okay situation or position, not situation, position to think about closing the gaps to settles. The problem is with the news coming out, this open is going to be volatile. So my big stressor, sit on your hands. Be patient. You don't want to get stuck in some outright position off the open when this market goes wild. So be patient. Hold on tight for a little bit. Let the market give us some direction. And you know what? If it starts to close the gap to settles and we miss that initial move, that's okay, because settlement is not just a target, but it's also an entry point or an opportunity location. So keep that in mind. Just because we maybe miss its start to close that gap, and by the time we have a chance to get in, it's not really a good asymmetric opportunity. So keep in mind, it doesn't always have to be a target. It can always be an opportunity as well. All right, next. Good old Nasdaq. So far, Nasdaq is down. This is, like I've been saying for the last while, this has been a trend lower market. We thought we maybe were going to hold it for a little bit until the start of the week, and now this week has really kind of given us that inclination that we've accepted lower. We're looking to find some lower value prices. It's our job to look for opportunities down below. I'm going to point this one out again because I'm not going to be here the next couple days. 200 SMA all the way down below at 12,812. Now, we had a lot of work to get down to that price. The first thing I'm looking at here today, I'm going to see if we can get down, if this thing continues to the downside. My first level that I'm watching is going to be that BFRM, big fat round number, 13,000. If this market continues lower. Now, when we look a little bit closer, are we showing that? Well, here's what's got my attention. We came right down off the number, right back to where we opened up yesterday. So 13,090. I think that's going to be a good point for us to keep an eye on as this market opens up. We are opening up away from settlement price. No doubt about that. 13,346 even is our settlement price. 13,346 even is settlement price. So we are opening up away. We're in a tough spot to go ahead and jump into this trade because there is no real technical risk point just yet that's valid, right? We're looking at this right now. It's 60, 70 points of risk before we start to see some point of invalidation. I'm going to be a little bit more patient. So we are opening up away from settles. And I don't ever want to discount the fact that the market can rotate higher. We do have point of control from yesterday up at 13,311. We've got settlement price up at 13,346. And we have yesterday's value area low down here at 13,208. If this market does rotate higher, those are a few points that really are going to get our attention that we need to be paying attention to. If we start to rotate lower, we looked at those levels on the daily. We've got yesterday's swing low down here prior to open, down here, 13,064. We also were just talking earlier about 13,090, and then below that, we've got that 13,000. And then if something wild happens to this market, we've got our 200 SMA all the way down here at 12,000. We're just going to call it 12,800, it's as an area. Next, let's look at the gold. Gold's kind of all over here this morning. Right now, showing a little flat, dead center of weekly kickoff levels. Reminder, weekly kickoff high, 1880. Weekly kickoff low, 1782. This market has been extremely range-bound. Therefore, I'm focused on trading range-bound until it tells me otherwise. We've seen multiple highs right up here at 1842. 1, 2, 3, and now 4. We've seen this market rally up to 1842, pass a little through a few times, but nonetheless, it's broken down from there. How many times have we come down to this 1819 that we were looking at yesterday? Well, that's where the market broke out very nicely. We got another bounce off it really nice yesterday. And today we've fallen just shy of it. In theory, fundamentally, it says that this market wants to go higher. Will this market actually continue to the upside? We just saw extreme rejection off of this week's high. It broke down pretty quickly. But right now, that's what I'm focusing. I'm going to try and focus on some sort of range-bound trade. So I'm going to be watching up at 42. And I'm probably going to keep things a little bit tighter. And I'm down here by 1830. That's going to be a checkpoint for me, 1830. I want to watch how that market reacts. It's coming in pretty darn closely with our 200 SMA, 200 period. Remember, this is a 30-minute chart. This is the 200 period SMA on a 30-minute chart. That's going to kind of keep my eyes in check. Settlement price, where this market has checked, we've traded it, gaps closed, so that trade is out the window at this point. We're not taking it, but settlement price, just so you know, is 1836.10. 1836.10 is our settlement price. All right, next, let's look at the euro. This has been a volatile morning. It broke outside of range, has fallen directly back inside of range. As a reminder, weekly kickoff levels, weekly kickoff low, 119.94 with weekly kickoff high up at 122.50. 122.50. So as we look a little bit closer here, we have maintained range. We are still in range. Now, there's a chance that this thing wants to break out, and I don't think it's far off to look at that swing low that we just hit at 120.78 half. 120.78 half is where I was looking prior to. This is where we talked about yesterday. If this thing breaks down, it's going to rotate right down to where the breakout took place. Granted, here's what's got my attention right now, and this is what I will be watching until it tells me otherwise. That's my range. That's what I'm looking at. I'm looking for opportunities to fade the extremes. We can think about possibly bringing it a little bit tighter, but I like opening it up a little bit more for myself based off of just some volume. This is what I'm keeping an eye on. This is the range that I'm looking at. We've got settlement price up above at 121.60 even, 121.60 even, which is our overnight high. We have opened up a way. We have not closed the gap since opening up. So that's an opportunity. No doubt about it. Actually, I take that back. I think we did just check it. My bad. We did check settlement price. I've got it covered up here. I'm not paying attention. I had to look at my other charts, and I saw we checked that one already. So settlement, closing the gap to settlement has taken place. So if this market does break out below this range, we're looking down below where the breakout started to start the week. All right, lastly, or excuse me, not to start the week, to end last week. Lastly, the 10-year note. Volatile so far, down 16 points. Biggest range we've seen in a while. Market has broken. I'm going to dive. I forgot. I totally removed part of my chart the other day. And of course, you can't put it back in. All right, this market's opened up, trending lower, plain and simple. That's what I'm watching. These markets, when this market gets directional, it's a steamroller. We're going to hold on tight. Got multiple points down below that I think are my attention span, have my attention if this market continues, but I'm going to be watching yields. We have our swing low down here, 131.26 half, 131.26 half. I don't see that being without reason, but keep our eyes on the yields. That's going to be the big thing here today, watching our yields, and just continuing to keep an eye on the talk about what's going on inflation. Yields are changing. They're all over the place right now. 10-year continues to rise, 39 basis points. I think when we sat down here this morning, it was 28. So yields continue to skyrocket. 10 years up. 11 already from when we sat, or 9 from when we sat down. That's up 15 basis points. Look to see volatility go crazy here today. I think that's kind of expected. Today's going to be a good day. Be patient, though. Don't rush into anything. Sit down, relax, wait for the extremes. Days like today, you don't want to get caught chasing. You don't want to jump in and out of the markets all over the place. So just be patient. George, good morning. The real one, good morning. I'll be watching it if sell the rumors, buy the news. Since it's not far from as bad as we expected. Yep, from today's official CPI report, this is the largest 12-month increase since a 4.9% increase for the period ending September 2008. That's some good data there, JD. Thank you for sharing that. Colin, good morning. All right, Taiwan stocks sink most in 14 months on virus woes, TechCrowd. Yeah, I mean, no surprise there. This has been a hectic, wild, crazy year. And gosh, all right, equities are opening up here in a couple minutes. I want to trade today, but remember, be patient off this open. We didn't have a ton of volume come in yet on CPI. I think you're going to see that kind of spill over off this open. So just be patient. We'll sit on our hands for a little bit, and we'll let this market tell us what it's going to do. Drop the bias today. Trade what this market's giving you. If it gets directional, you're looking for pullbacks and you're moving with direction. If we start to see it find bottoms or set some sort of range, we're fading the extremes. We're not getting caught in the middle. I don't want anyone getting caught in the middle if we go range bound. We've talked about that a lot. We got to find these channels. Draw it out for yourself if you have to help yourself avoid getting caught in the middle. We don't want to be caught in the middle. We're looking for the extremes. And again, directional moves, we're just finding pullbacks. We don't want to get in on the dips. If equities continue to run lower, we want to find the pullback. We don't want to get in on the lows, right? Then we're taking a lot of risk. We're going to get shaken out, and that's how people get shaken out of trades all the time. They get caught chasing. They're selling lows. The market's trending lower. Pullbacks come in. They think it's reversing. Then they cannonball a position, and they go from short to long. And then all it was a simple pullback. You get back in direction, and I hear it all the time. I was in it. I got stopped out. Ended up going in my direction, and I would have made money if I had more risk. Well, it's not about the risk. It's about better entries. Focus on that. Find those pullbacks, and I think you'll do well. All right, guys. Vince, good question. say settlement is an opportunity to fade it or play. Well, depends. You have to pay attention to what's going to happen when the market approaches settles. It's really going to be one of two things. Settlement price is going to springboard and kick it back in the direction, and that's, you're fading that, right? Other times it's going to be an accelerant. Every day and every time you trade it, you're something different, right? So I'm typically watching momentum, keeping an eye on some acceptance, ways I look for acceptance. I'm watching order flow. And if it's telling me, hey, more buyers are still, if we're moving up to settlement price, more buyers are continuing to come in. So volume is continuing to increase, right? If volume continues higher, market should continue in that direction. If we start to see volume start to come off as we move in a direction, that's a sign that the market's starting to possible rotation. So there's a lot to pay attention to. PD, what's your typical hold time for a trade? If there is one, just curious. PD, my trades, typically when I'm day trading, I'm not in, I'm in for 1 to 3 hours. That's typical day trade for me. I very rarely am I in a trade for less than an hour or an hour and a half. I like to be patient on them. Any advice on how to become patient quickly? I need patience now. You need an accountability partner, right? You need someone. Patience comes with discipline. I spent a long time trying to understand discipline. I had great discipline in the Marine Corps, and I sometimes slack in my personal life. And I realized the key to having discipline is not so much saying I'm disciplined and I'm good about it. It's having that accountability. I always say it when in the Marine Corps, you cannot have your hands in your pockets when you're in uniform. I walk around with my hands in my pockets all the time. I have my whole life. But for some reason, when I was in uniform, my hands never went in my pockets. And I started to realize the reason why was I didn't want to walk around a corner and have someone yell at me and put me on blast. So I kind of recognized that it's not so much that I had discipline to the rules. I had discipline to the discipline that would come if I violated the rules. I was disciplined for it. And so once you start to realize that, it's focusing on that accountability. The only way to have discipline is to have accountability. So what's that accountability? If you're holding yourself accountable, if you have a significant other, a friend, a family member, a trading buddy, anyone out there that can help you. I've always said someone that is not in trading is usually a great accountability partner because they can't have the empathy. You don't want someone with empathy to be your accountability because you're going, oh, I get it. I've been there. That's okay. You don't want that. You want someone that's going to crack you upside the back of the head. But what the hell are you doing? You said you weren't going to do that. Why would you do that? Makes you kind of feel a little humiliated. So, all right, guys, markets are opening. I'm going to get on out. Everybody have a great day, and I will see you when I get back from vacation.